Hello guys, welcome back to Assetto Corsa, and today is a final review of the Dream Pack 2.
Yep, we've only got 2 cars to go, so the 2 cars that we're going to be reviewing today is the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 and now this is the one that neither of you want to say, do you?
Can I have a go?
No.
Go for it.
Scuderia Cameron Glinkenhaus SCG-003C.
Not bad. Not bad at all. But you see what I mean about it puts McLaren's names to shame as well.
Yeah, but hang on, I've just realised the SCG is just that in
Yes,
small,
yeah.
so we just
yeah, Scuderia Cameron Glinkenhaus.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. I think it's SCG, not SGC. I think I've written it wrong anyway. But we'll start with the Lamborghini because it was the next GT3 car. We reviewed GT3 cars last week. Let's review this. Although technically I'd say both are GT3 cars in a way, but this is an official FIA regulated GT3 car, which is an interesting GT3 car to say the least, in the fact that it's possibly the newest of all the GT3 cars.
Yeah, and it's a Lamborghini.
And it's a Lamborghini, yeah. I mean, there was a Gallardo GT3. I don't know whatever happened to that one. It never showed up in Assetto Corsa.
I was actually just going through it. Has there ever been a Lamborghini GT3 car? Then when you said Gallardo, I think I remember.
Gallardo.
Was it a mod or was it actually an official car?
No, I'm talking about the real life.
Yeah, real
I think we're talking real life
yeah,
here.
GT3.
Alright.
The GT3 series.
Yeah.
It was odd that was never in Assetto Corsa. Well, you know, the 12C was, and the SLS and the Z4 and the old one. But this is like the next generation of them. But they still have the old cars as well.
But a Lamborghini, one thing you got to give it is his looks.
Oh yeah,
No
doubt.
When it comes to looks, it's top of the class, and nothing
They just
changed.
look very evil, don't they?
No, I think they're just a unique look to them.
Yeah. It is very, very unique.
I think all of them pretty much look angry now.
Yeah, the build, the look, and it's just you know it's a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
It's very obvious. I mean, no matter how old a Lamborghini is, it's just got a very obvious, especially on the front end. It's a very obvious look. I did pick this particular colour for a reason, and that's because it's a matte black colour, and it's the only time I've ever seen a Kuno's car standard come out with a matte colour. So you can see it's not actually reflecting it.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say, I thought you don't like your matte colours.
No, I don't like matte wraps. If a matte colour comes along, depending on the colour, I mean, we used to have them. We have them as paint chips in Gran Turismo. Believe me, some of the matte pink, don't.
I don't know about you, but I've never really been a fan of matte, to be honest.
I'm not a massive fan.
I like the glossy colours.
I think if it's executed, it looks pretty. If it's executed well, it looks really good.
To be honest, I like the colours that have a little bit of shine, like the satin colours. They're nice.
Yes, satin colours I agree with.
I think it depends on how it's done.
It depends on the car as well. Always depends on the car. I mean, if this car was in matte pink, you know, it's not going to happen. If you had a Fiat 500 in matte pink, they might be able to pull it off. But okay, moving away from Fiat 500s and going back to this specs time. So
I just want to say that, you know, it's a very light car, only weighing 1,235 kg. That's quite light, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean
it's a
GT3 car. Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah,
I mean, I think if it was a standard car, you'd be looking at least another 200.
Yeah.
I would say probably around 1.5 tons.
How much do you reckon it must have shaved off at least 200-300 kg?
Yeah,
from the original?
it's got to be. Yeah. It's got to be. And it says now, this is really odd. It says 600 bhp on the Assetto Corsa. I did look at the official figures because I felt that was too much compared to the other GT3 cars. The official figures say 550 bhp.
Okay.
So there's a 50 bhp discrepancy here, but both of them say it comes in around 8,800 rpm. So that's where the graphs show it. And same with the torque. I saw it at 540, but the official figures say around 520.
Yeah.
So I've put it 520 Newton meters of torque, and that comes around 6,250 rpm. So this is really a mid to high range car. It's not really, it doesn't like the low range, but it doesn't particularly favour the high range all the time.
But yeah, well, when it comes to speed, it's up there, isn't it?
Yeah.
220. Maximum speed 220. Obviously, you can adjust that with the gear ratios.
And something 0 to 60, 0 to 62,
3 seconds.
3 seconds. Absolute. That's. I was gonna say something, but yeah, that is basically something really quick.
Yeah. I have no idea what you're going to say, but it's really fast. It is really, really fast. You two need to know something I don't here. But the chassis, and you were talking about weight
Yeah.
saving. This is where a lot of the weight saving comes in. It's got an aluminium carbon
There you go.
chassis, so
Yeah.
it's a composite chassis. And you know, I've messed around with aluminium
Aluminium
chassis.
carbon chassis.
Yeah, I've messed around with this particular alloy, and it is a
Yeah,
very
the
very
aluminium is
light.
probably just the weight, and then carbon
Yeah.
is probably just
It's
strength.
the carbon gives it the pure strength on it, and the aluminium, while flexible, you know,
Pretty light.
once it's
Yeah.
very very light. You're looking at, you know, a 60-65 composite or something. It's a very very light composite. It's a similar kind of composite. I would be assuming that the kind of composite they use on this is similar to that they use to build aircraft. And aircraft are, for their size, they're incredibly
Yeah.
light. So you know, it's a lot of people don't really realize that an aircraft is that light compared to how big it is. It's because of materials like this.
One thing, I mean, I'm looking at the specs right now. It's got a 6-speed gearbox,
Yes.
sequential paddle gearbox. But I would have expected this to have a 7.
It does have 7 in real life, but GT3 FIA regulations.
Okay, so,
So your street car has 7, I believe, and this car, because of regulations, has only allowed 6. But that's in our V10. It's a 5.2 litre V10 direct injection car engine, which comes directly from the road car. So just like
Okay,
the
yeah.
Audi we reviewed last week,
yeah.
Exactly
it's got the same thing.
same
It's just comes.
engine.
In fact, it is the same engine, isn't it? Audi, Lamborghini, same company.
Except the only difference is that they've obviously changed the clutch to a triple disc clutch.
Yeah, and you've got a lot of Bosch systems in there, which you can
Yeah.
actually see the Bosch logo. You might be able to see it somewhere. Yeah, you can just see it on the HUD.
Oh yeah. Right
At
at
the
the
bottom,
bottom
yeah.
right, yeah.
You can just see at the bottom it says
yeah.
Bosch there. So you've got that, and it's just generally just a race car that's based off a normal car, which is exactly what GT3 is.
But I mean, I didn't drive it.
Yeah.
But when I look at it, I think it's a really nice car.
It is a nice car.
But you said you didn't enjoy it. I mean, you found it pretty dull.
It was dull. It was dull. Now, before we talk about you know how it felt to drive in that sense, I am going to say, like we mentioned at the start, you know it's a Lamborghini, and the modelling Kunos have done on it is phenomenal. Again, it's fantastic. You know, the GT3 cars, we kept saying that every time we saw a GT3 car in Assetto Corsa, it was something big, something special. It looked the part. This looks the part just as much as anything else. One thing I did have to say about the textures is that top quality textures, but all the liveries are almost exactly the same, and they're all really, really boring. Like, if you look at that livery in the replay box, that black one, that matte black, is probably the most interesting livery you have. I mean, there were other colours. There was red and green and all of that, but just generally, in terms of how the colours were and how the sponsors were set out, all set out exactly the same, and it was really, really boring.
No racing stripes, anything like that.
Nothing like that.
No.
None of that. In fact, if you look at the bottom of this, can you see a little red lip
Yeah, the front.
just on the
spoiler
front,
is-
on the
yeah.
splitter and everything? Yeah. This is the only car that had that. The rest of them were just plain on the same colour.
Okay.
So that's another reason I picked this particular colour. And like I said, you mentioned what I said about physics. I felt it was dull to drive. There's nothing wrong with the physics. The car's a good car. It's very easy to drive. I mean, any mistake that I make, it's because of my own bad driving. I wasn't paying attention, or I overdrove the car. But there was not any excitement. Like the R8 gave me a little bit more excitement while I was driving it. It just felt a little bit more agile, a little bit more alive. You know that. This car didn't. And obviously, there's going to be people who like this car.
Yeah.
Because it is a good car. It really is. But it's not a car I liked. So for me, it is now the worst car in the Dream Pack.
Wow.
That's not saying
Wow.
that it's a bad car, because all the Dream Pack cars are really good.
Yeah.
But it is the bottom of the
Yeah.
list
Right.
for me. That's below the roof.
Really?
Yes.
I like the roof.
The roof's nice.
Yeah.
Exactly. I would prefer driving the roof over this
Okay.
because it's just more of a
I
challenge.
wish I'd driven this car now.
Yeah,
but,
me
I mean,
too.
I'm only going to grade it for what I see, and looks and sound and
Yeah.
physics
Well,
and
we haven't really
sound.
talked. We haven't really talked about the sound.
The
right
sounds
now.
are absolutely
Oh,
amazing.
sounds
We know
fantastic.
that's
that.
what I mean. Sounds. I'm going along with the sound. It sounds amazing.
Well,
Absolutely
you said apparently it sounds like a TIE fighter.
It really does now. I don't know whether this is
From
just
that view
me.
there.
This is just me watching. You know when you point at the screen, our viewers really can't see.
Oh yes, I forgot.
He's just pointing. He's just gone from that view there, and he points at the screen. But no, I don't know whether it's because we've been watching Star Wars lately with the trailer and everything.
I was knew it was going to be
But-
amazing.
I don't know whether I would have picked up on it if it wasn't that. But there are moments when this car, when it's gone past you and it's accelerating, it has this screech like a TIE fighter. And it was the strangest. When I first heard it, I thought, hey?
Maybe that's why I really like it.
It could be. It could be. But no, it does sound good.
I think
really
sounds, physics, maybe it's... I mean, it's your opinion that you find it boring.
Exactly.
So I'm not going to grade it out. I think I'm going to give it a very good, solid 9.5.
Really?
Yeah, because the thing is, when I drive it, I mean, this is, in brackets, I've not driven it.
Yeah.
And, but for what I've seen, for how it's executed, and it's a Lamborghini.
Yes,
for me, and why I'm not giving it the full 10 is because I need to drive it, and I might even give it the full 10 when I drive it.
Right, yeah. No, that's fair enough. I mean, I personally am going to give this car an 8, which is similar to...
Whoa, come on.
Well, wait a minute. If we think about this, what did you give the GT40?
I can't remember.
You gave that an 8.5. Now, if we gave the GT40 an 8.5,
Yeah, but I drove...
and that was a fantastic car to drive. It wasn't really fast,
Yeah.
but it was an absolutely fantastic car to drive. This wasn't anywhere near as fun as that GT40. But I am giving it an 8 still because it sounds great. It sounded better.
Everything else is done well.
Everything else is done well.
Okay.
It just wasn't a fun car to drive.
That's quite a large...
So-
generally, me and you have quite similar scores.
Yeah, this is the first time.
This is totally off track.
Yeah, this is the first time.
What do you viewers... I hope you viewers agree with me and not him.
I hope
Hang
you agree
on.
with me.
Now it's my time to rate. So from what I've heard,
8
what
points
I've
out of
seen, the physics, the modelling, everything else, even the sound, I think I agree with you. I'll go with a 9.5. I think it deserves that. So
That's interesting.
It's 2v1 this time.
Okay, so who do you agree with, viewers? Is it an 8 or a 9.5?
This is going to be an interesting one actually, because I genuinely do feel that it is an 8. I'm actually sticking to my 8 here, just simply because, like I said, it's not. I've driven all the GT3 cars.
Maybe if you put like in a sunny, atmosphere or I don't know.
I tried it in that. I thought maybe
it's very gloomy right now. Maybe it's making you feel a bit depressed.
No,
I don't know.
I've driven all the GT3 cars, and this just wasn't the most fun out of the lot. Having said that, I'd say that I had more fun in this car than, I can't remember which GT3 car that I didn't have as much fun in. This was better than one of the GT3 cars, but it wasn't better than the rest. And I'll tell you something, you know how I don't like the Nissan GTR?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Nissan GTR GT3 car, far better than this one.
Oh wow.
Far better. Yeah, and the only other thing
I'm very
is,
shocked that you're giving it such a bad review.
the only other thing is that I could say is that this has as a redeeming factor is that it was fairly fast.
Okay.
That is another redeeming factor. But I'm still sticking to the 8 because it just wasn't as good as what I'd want it to be. Considering it's a Lamborghini, I wanted it to be something that would want to kill. That is what Lamborghinis do. I remember the Countach, how I said the Countach really drove really nicely, and I gave that a really high rating as well. That's the kind of feel I wanted from this car. Obviously, I know it'd be more grippy, but that's the kind of feel I wanted from this car. And as I go spinning off again, I think that's all we really have to say on it. So, between 9.5 or 8, what do you guys think? You guys might agree with none of us and say it's a 3, or you guys might say it's a 10. You guys might even give us a bit in the middle and say it's a 9. So we're just going to end that here, and we're going to switch over to the next car, which was an interesting car, I think. That was another interesting car. We'll see in a few seconds.
Hello guys, so we're back in the SCG.
Yeah, SCG. Let's just call it the car.
Yeah, no, we can't because the SCG is a Sydney cricket ground, so we're very careful.
Okay, let's call it the Scuderia Cameron Glinkenhaus.
I might just call it the car.
The car, I think so.
It sounds German. Glinkenhaus.
I believe
I think that might be the tuning.
that may
Yeah.
This car is actually specifically built by this. So I think it starts off life as, I don't know, a Ferrari chassis maybe. It really looks like a Ferrari
Hence the name
chassis.
Scuderia.
Hence the name Scuderia.
Is it just like a
Cameron?
mishmash?
Yeah, Cameron has nothing to do with David Cameron. We swear. And Glinkenhaus is actually the name of the tuning company. The person who built this car, his name is James Glinkenhaus, I believe. So
Not Cameron Glinkenhaus, because that would have made more sense.
That would have made more sense. Maybe Cameron's another person.
Yeah. Okay.
Again, not David Cameron.
Yeah, if you guys know, just put it in the comments box
Unless
because
it's
we ain't got a clue.
secretly a race car driver or some sort, a tuning company. No.
No, this is David Cameron we're talking about. Right. But it's a very, very interesting car because in essence, it's a GT3 car without most of the regulations.
Okay.
So this is what a GT3 car could be.
Yeah.
Which is something that we've never seen really before.
So there's no limits basically. Just
Well,
do whatever
there
you
are
want.
limits, but not GT3 limits. The limits were far further.
Right.
So you
hang on,
see,
so hang on. The first thing that sticks out is his mirrors, well, so camera mirrors.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be allowed, would it?
actually, I think that would be allowed,
You
but
reckon?
that reminds me a bit more of GT2 because GT2 cars have those cameras inside.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So this isn't a GT3 car.
This isn't a
but
GT3
it
car.
could
This
be a
is
GT3.
this is an SPX car. It's a special class, and it actually raced at the Nürburgring 24-hour race,
Okay.
and it won its class. In fact, it was so fast that it came, I believe it came 13th overall in the
Wow.
entire race. It started 62nd,
Wow. Okay.
and it came 13th overall in the entire race, if I remember correctly. And it was competing with the fastest cars on track.
Okay.
Wow.
So it is a very fast car. This is this is why we say it's a GT3 car without the regulations. If you let it go in terms of aerodynamics and
Yeah.
everything, this is probably what you'd get out of a GT3 car. Something very, very similar. Of course, it is a bit heavier.
Yeah.
1,530
Wow,
kilos.
Well, it's almost 300.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, over 300. Yeah.
That being said, it was faster. I felt it, as in it just felt faster.
Wait, I'm just looking at you're
More
saying it's
torquey,
fast-
much more torquey.
Yeah.
Oh, much more.
Talk. Yeah.
That could be why.
Was it 700?
Yeah.
You had 700 newton meters of torque compared to the other one, which is 520.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's a V6.
But it is a V6.
Yeah.
Now, that was probably the one thing that I think all of us didn't really like
No,
on
it
it.
doesn't sound very.
It doesn't
I'm
sound
actually
that
surprised it's got a Honda engine in there.
good. It has got a Honda. In fact, the other reason it sounds as it does is because it's
Are
only
you
a single.
serious?
Yes,
I just noticed that. Single overhead car.
it's only a single overhead
Wow.
cam.
Why?
3.5 litre, twin turbo, single overhead cam V6.
Oh, why would they put a single overhead car in it?
I don't know. Ask James Glickenhaus.
That's a first. I've never seen that since a long time.
That's been a long time, but
Yeah.
that's probably why it sounds as it does. That being said, this is possibly the most accurate sounding car in the whole pack. It is. I've heard this car. This car is pretty much spot on.
Reckon.
Yeah. So it's a very good effort there. It just doesn't sound. If you were to put this next to a GT3 car,
No, it'd blow it away.
the GT3
Yeah.
car is just better.
Especially the fact that
Ooh,
we've
those
been
brakes are
listening
blowing
to the Lamborghini beforehand.
Exactly, and the Lamborghini is possibly one of the better sounding
Yeah.
GT3 cars. In fact, Lamborghini engines generally sound
Amazing,
really
yeah.
good. But yeah, it's like I said, it's a V6 and it's only single overhead cam. It does have a carbon fiber monocoque, which then poses the question as to how is it so heavy with all this? But it's probably because it wants a lot of there's a lot of extra things in here. Like for example, those cameras, they got to add something to the weight.
Yeah.
The systems that have to look there. You've got the
No.
cameras at the back, the screens there. They're going to add weight, whether it's just 100 grams
Yeah.
or not.
It's probably just a
Still
heavy
adding-
engine or something. as
Still
well.
adding weight. The engine
I
could
think
be heavy.
I think you're right with the engine, the Honda
Yeah.
engine. I think that's probably a lot there.
The Honda engine could be heavy. The extra roll cage or whatever
Oh,
they're putting
that
in,
is-
that's
yeah.
going to put an extra 100 kilos
Yeah.
on it. So there is a lot there. The bodywork, the extra bodywork on here, the extra aerodynamics that's going to put on the extra rear wing. All these little bits and bobs will add up. So it does make sense.
Did you like driving it?
I did. It was again not the most fun car, to drive.
Yeah.
But it was far more interesting than a Lamborghini, that's for sure.
Okay.
I just didn't like
Yeah.
the sound of it so much.
You drove it after the Lamborghini. as
I
well,
drove
didn't
it after
you?
the Lamborghini,
So you
yeah.
would find a difference.
So yeah, exactly. I thought I'd drive the Lamborghini first because I thought the Lamborghini would be the better car, I'll be honest. But
Okay.
it wasn't. This one was more alive, and you can actually see that from the way I'm steering. I have to make a few more minor adjustments.
Okay.
There's more adjustments I had to make. I felt like I was more working with the car rather than just
You know what?
telling the car where to go.
I mean, I'm going to be really judgmental and say I don't like it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like the fact that they've taken bits and bobs of other. of other cars and
that's
mix it
how
together.
that's how this car
Well,
worked.
I know.
There's another car that we reviewed before, the P45 Competizione, a long time ago.
Yeah.
You remember that? We did
the
that in
name.
Mugello. That was the predecessor to this car, and that
okay.
car was fantastic as well.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel it's not got. It's not a car.
It isn't. No.
I
This
feel like
is
it's
a
just
special.
people just putting together parts.
Yeah, this
now.
is a race car. This isn't a special. This isn't any car. In fact, you can buy the road-going version, which has a V12 engine, so that should sound much better. The road-going version.
You know what I really like? So it's probably just a bit off topic, but I really like the shift lights on the steering wheel.
Yeah, that's one of the things. What did confuse me though is why does it have LEDs everywhere?
Yeah, because there's one on the hood as well.
There's two, isn't
Yeah. Now there was a point
It's
that
a
when
bit
I went around one of the corners, my primary focus was not to get around the corner, but my primary focus was, can I get this in such a way that I hide all the LEDs, both the ones on the wheel and the ones on the dashboard?
I tell you what, you get confused at a traffic light. You'd be looking at it thinking, hang on, is it green? No, is it green?
I don't
And
think
then-
this
do I
car
shift
would be
yet?
allowed. I don't think this car would be
Yeah.
allowed to be anywhere where
On the
there is
road,
traffic
yeah.
lights. But yeah, like I said, if you've got $2.5 million, you can buy the road-going version of this
Wow.
car. Yeah,
Bloody hell.
$2.5 million. Let's just compare that to the Lamborghini Huracan, which is I think $300,000
That's ridiculous.
for the GT3
dollars,
version.
pounds.
Dollars
Okay.
for the GT3 version.
That's a GT3 version
For
as
the
well.
and this for the road-going version, which incidentally is probably a little bit faster.
Yeah.
But $2.5 million because it's a car that's made in such a special way.
Yeah.
So like you said, it was put bits and bobs put
Yeah.
together. It's been put together in such a special way.
You could literally buy 7 Lamborghinis and have a race with your friends. For the price of this car.
If you had 7 Lamborghinis, I think you'd have more than 7 friends. That's for sure.
Yeah. Definitely.
But yeah,
crazy,
like
that is.
like I said, it was an interesting car to drive. Not fully fun. I will say that it wasn't fully fun, but it felt more alive than the Huracan, more like the Audi, and more like the McLaren. You know,
Yeah.
there's just a bit more to do. And
I mean, so I'm just cutting you up here, but we talk about the modelling. There's no point talking about modelling because all the cars are
It
modelled
is,
pretty
yeah,
well.
it
So,
was so
we'll just go over that the next part now.
I like the
is-
liveries.
Oh yeah, but there's only 3 of them.
There's only 3 of them because there were only 3 liveries for this car because only 3 of them actually raced.
Wow,
So
okay.
there's only 3 liveries for this car.
What do they
One's
look
one's like a camouflage one,
Yeah.
like an Arctic camouflage. It looks really interesting.
Hmm.
In fact, it looks a bit like the B-52 bombers. You know, they had
Yeah.
the shark nose at the front
Oh,
with,
yeah,
with the
yeah.
the teeth and everything. That's
Oh,
it looks a bit
that
like
one,
that.
though.
Well, okay.
It looks a bit like that. There's a yellow one, similar to the one that you see here, which also has that, and then there's this black one. And I thought, well, since I drove a matte black Lamborghini before, I'd just drive a black one of this as well.
It's not matte black, is it? It's
No,
not.
this is
No,
gloss
it's
black.
It's gloss.
Yeah.
Which again, the reason I drove it is to show the difference.
Mm.
So you can clearly see that matte black was properly matte black on the Lamborghini.
Like you can see all the shadows and light hitting the car and
Yeah.
obviously it's reflecting.
It's very, very nicely made. Like we said about the sounds, it was a very interesting sound. I've never heard sounds like this before. Inside, yes, but outside, you know when you shift gear, it like cuts off.
Okay.
It was really strange, and you guys will hear it. It just cuts off for no more than maybe 0.1 of a second, if that. But it's really audible, and you know, going past in real life, if this car's going past you and that happened,
You
be
stalled
like,
it.
what? What? You know, it becomes a Prius for 0.1 seconds.
Until you look inside and now driving a Prius.
Yeah. But overall, I'll admit it wasn't the best car. I'm actually going to give this car an 8.4. More
That's
than
still low. That's
still
I mean,
low.
And you said you liked it.
I liked it, but it was still low
Wow.
because
It's okay today.
I didn't like it as much as the Audi.
Right.
That was better. I didn't like it nowhere near as much as the BM.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it as much as the. In fact, I tell you what, if I give this an 8.5,
Yeah.
I would revise my GT40 up to a 9.
Okay.
That's what I would do. This is an 8.5. My GT40 is revised up to
Okay.
a 9 from
I was
8.5.
going to give this an 8.
That's So
An
we're
8.
closer again.
Yeah.
We're closer on the.
But
Why would you give it an 8 though?
because it's a nice car. I mean, I'm grading the whole thing here. It's a
Yeah.
nice car, model well. Are we doing the car or the actual modelling? We don't do the
We'll
modelling.
just talk about leave the modelling
Yeah.
because the modelling is
Yeah.
top
The,
anyway.
the car itself, I mean, it's got its looks.
Yeah.
You got to give it that. The engine, it's a V6, so you got to lose.
You lose a bit.
You lose a bit for the fact that it's
It sounds like a bumblebee. Yeah.
sounds like a bumblebee.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
but it does have good things going for it. So just for that reason, I think I'm going to give it an 8.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair.
So an 8.4 and an 8.
Well, 8.5.
Okay.
You really liked it.
I don't say I really liked it.
I'm sure you said that.
No.
Yeah, I think you said that you'd prefer this over the GTRs.
Oh yeah, sure I did. Yeah, really.
Right. Okay,
No,
go on.
GTR fanboy.
Taking all of that into consideration, I think the thing that probably put me off was the sound. For me, you probably both noticed, and all of you has probably noticed that I always care about the sound of the car.
Yeah.
Sound's my thing. But apart from that, everything else was spot on. So I think I'll give it an 8.6 out of 10.
Wow, he actually gave it more than me.
Yeah.
That's impressive. Okay, so really we are looking at 8.5. Now, before we finish this last lap off, quickly, favourite car in the whole pack then?
So go through the cars that we've.
So you had the BMW,
M4, yeah.
the M4, you've got the roof, you've got the Lamborghini Huracan GT3, you've got the Audi GT3 car, you've got this car, you've got the Ford GT40, you've got the Alfa no, you don't have the Alfa Romeo Mito, you get lost.
Cool, I'm gonna be off time, so I'm gonna say BMW.
BMW, okay.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think out of all of them, we gave the M4 probably the greatest rating, and
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was.
we did.
It did seem like the best sounding and best sounding. Yep, it's the M4.
I'm gonna say, actually, I have to say the M4 as well.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
the M4.
You didn't say
Second,
it, yeah.
my second is the GT40, which
You
I
didn't
know
say
yours
the
is
M-
different.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put my hands out. I'm gonna say the roof
The roof, okay.
because I felt you could do more with that
Yeah.
one. Eventually, when you
And
got-
yours, quickly, before we...
The West.
No, the second favourite.
Oh, second favorite would be. Oh, I don't know.
Well, he doesn't
Sorry.
know, so we're going to end it on that. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to hit the like button if you like this video. Subscribe to our channel for more videos on Assetto Corsa. Thank you very much for watching. And leave your favourites in the comments box below.